welcome to the podcast. This is the Surge Effect, and this podcast, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. Today's Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about, of course, Trump's peace deal and what he created in the Middle East. And at the very end of the podcast, we're talking a little bit about Bill C-8 here in Canada. And what's that all about? Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't. I'm just going to drop a couple of videos and shed a little bit of light on what's going on there. Okay, but the first video I'm going to pop up on the screen is going to be Trump's historic signing of the peace agreement in the Middle East. Got to keep in mind, this is historic. It's historic stuff going on here. And, people maybe brush it over, but it is, in fact, historic. So watch this. Okay. Look at Carney in the background there. Look at the sad face on that guy. Of course, he was just recently talking about Palestine and recognized it as a state. Recognized them as a state. Him and Macron and Starmer from the UK, of course, were kind of messing up the works a bit when Trump's trying to get this.
3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up.
So, anyway, like I was just saying about, of course, there's Trump signing.
Have a pen? Want to use mine? Okay.
Rest of the leaders, of course, go down the list and they sign theirs. And then towards the end, I believe they all hold them up. I mean, this is historic stuff. There you go. Just absolutely phenomenal. Just historic stuff going on right there. Anyway, like I was just saying about Starmer and about Macron and Carney. Of course, they're all for, they're talking, praising in Palestine and everything else and recognizing the state. And it was just putting a bit of a monkey in the works there with Trump trying to accomplish what he was trying to accomplish. So, of course, speaking of Starmer and Carney and Macron, I'm just going to play a little clip here of what transpired with those cats over there. Here we go.
Donald Trump summoned world leaders at a moment's notice to gather in Egypt for the historic Gaza Peace Summit. And whilst all leaders were diplomatic and praised Trump's mammoth efforts in ensuring peace in the region, more progressive leaders had some bizarrely awkward moments with the POTUS. Keir Starmer didn't quite know what to do when he was called up by Trump in the middle of a speech and then quickly turned away.
United Kingdom. Where's United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice of you here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others.
Online commentators mock Starmer, saying Trump is just savage. He orders them all to drop everything, fly to Egypt, and then sign a peace deal, then is just brutal right to their faces. I love it. Eagle-eyed commentators also remarked at Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's hilarious reaction to the encounter, with this person saying Giorgia Meloni had that face of satisfaction when Keir Starmer was sent back. And Trump didn't miss an opportunity to float the idea of Canada becoming America's 51st state during a hilarious hot mic moment where he quipped, "At least I didn't call you governor."
You going back?
Oh, I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say? Great stuff.
It's good. I started.
He said he said.
Great stuff.
And Trump's meeting with Macron looked more like a handshake battle than diplomacy.
A coat and tie. It's usually a flak jacket and a helmet. So, an interesting change. As we see the president there with the French President Macron in Sharm el-Sheikh.
A little tug of war with
leaders
Trump
of some
and Macron.
45 countries, according to the president, gathering there for a peace summit. Now, there is a bro shake. If ever I've looked, we won't let go. Okay, you let go. No, I'm going to let go. All right, there we go. As
Trump.
we assemble for the class photo there, let's bring in Martha McCall.
Commentator
Doing a power
Nicole
move
has
there.
remarked, French President Macron looks terrified as President Trump manhandles him and about rips his arm off. Trump's always dominating these dweebs. The hilarious interactions come as Trump reveled in praise from leaders across the world after brokering an historic deal to end the war in the Middle East and release the hostages. Pakistan's Prime Minister even nominated Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize during his speech.
One of the greatest day in contemporary history, because peace has been achieved after untiring efforts led by President Trump, who is genuinely a man of peace, who has
Imagine that. Genuinely a man of peace. Wow. I thought everyone said he was, this, that, and the other thing. But he was dangerous, and if he had the nuclear codes, he shouldn't have them, and stuff like that. It's just the opposite, isn't it, of what they said it was, right? Just the opposite. Very interesting. Very interesting. So I'm just going to pop this picture up here as I'm going to read a couple of things here in regards to, what I'm first going to do is play a little clip by Barack Obama, because what Barack Obama has said about Trump in the past is interesting, but listen to this.
You have military that can direct force against their own people. That is inherently corrupting.
So, former President Barack Obama spoke with comedian Mark Maron for the final episode of Maron's WTF podcast. Anyway, do you hear what you just said there a minute ago? So I'm just going to play this first part again.
Military, when you have military that can direct force against their own people, that is inherently corrupting.
So that in itself tells me that Barack Obama doesn't really know too much about what's transpired over the course of hundreds of years. Just for the simple fact that this has been going on since George Washington in regards to military action against its people. And just to give you an idea, I'll just read you a couple of things in regards to presidents using military force. George Washington, 1794, George Washington deployed federalized militia to suppress the Whiskey Rebellion in western Pennsylvania, where farmers protested against whiskey tax. Washington personally led 13,000 troops to enforce it without major bloodshed. Abraham Lincoln, 1861, invoked the Insurrection Act to deploy the Union troops in Baltimore to secure rail lines and suppress secessionist mobs threatening federal control during the Civil War's outset, including suspending habeas corpus and arresting legislators. Abraham Lincoln, again in 1863, sent Army regiments to quell the New York City draft riots, one of the bloodiest domestic interventions where anti-conscription violence targeted black residents. Ulysses S. Grant, 1871, he used federal troops in the South under the Enforcement Act to combat the Ku Klux Klan. Ku Klux Klan, of course, was created by Democrats. Rutherford B. Hayes, 1877. He ordered Army troops to break the Great Railroad Strike, deploying forces to reopen rail lines, disperse strikers, and escort strike breakers amid widespread labor unrest. Herbert Hoover, in 1932, he directed General Douglas MacArthur and active duty troops, including cavalry and tanks, to evict the bonus army of the World War I veterans protesting in Washington, D.C. for early bonus payments, using tear gas and bayonets to burn the encampment. Dwight Eisenhower, 1957, federalized the Arkansas National Guard and sent 1,200 troops to Little Rock, Arkansas to enforce school desegregation in Central High School. John F. Kennedy, 1962, deployed over 30,000 federal troops and federalized the Mississippi National Guard to integrate the University of Mississippi amid riots by white segregationists. John F. Kennedy again in 1963 sent federal troops to the University of Alabama to ensure the enrollment of 2 black students, overriding Governor George Wallace's stand on the schoolhouse door and quelling potential unrest. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1965, federalized the Alabama National Guard and deployed U.S. Army troops to protest civil rights marchers. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1967, sent 82nd and 101st Airborne paratroopers to Detroit to suppress the 12th Street uprising, a major race riot that left 43 dead. Lyndon B. Johnson again, 1968, activated over 13,000 federal troops this time to Washington, D.C. and other cities to restore order after riots sparked by the Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. George H.W. Bush, 1992, he invoked the Insurrection Act to send 4,000 active duty Marines and Army troops to Los Angeles to aid in quelling riots following the Rodney King verdict. And of course, Donald Trump in 2025, he ordered 2,000 California State Guard to Los Angeles to intervene in the protest against his administration amid escalating civil unrest over policy disputes. So there you go in a nutshell. This has been going on for hundreds of years. I just wanted to just kind of share that. So here is another thing that Hillary Clinton had to say in regards to Trump being dangerous. Here you go.
Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different. They are dangerously incoherent. They're not even really ideas, just a series of bizarre rants, personal feuds, and outright lies. This is not someone who should ever have the nuclear codes, because it's not hard to imagine Donald Trump leading us into a war just because somebody got under his very thin skin.
Isn't that ridiculous? Like, she's been saying this for years, and so has Barack Obama, how dangerous he is, and if he had the nuclear codes, how dangerous he'd be. Meanwhile, this is his second term, and he's the only president not to have started a war. Think about that. Believe it or not, I believe Donald Trump is going to probably go down in history as probably one of the greatest presidents the United States of America has ever had. By doing this peace deal, by the way, like I just said a minute ago, he has single-handedly done something that no one else has ever done. Right, he's created peace in the Middle East, and he's actually created 8 different saves, I believe, in regards to the peace. And I just want to give you a quick little idea of what he's done for peace. So I'm just going to throw this up on the board here real quick. You can see this, obviously, if you're watching at home. Right here, Trump peace deals, right there. The Abraham Accord. 2020, that was been going on for 25 years. That was between the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Peace. Serbia and Kosovo Economic Normalization Agreement 2020, U.S. brokered deal, been going on for a long time. Indian and Pakistan ceasefire. He stopped basically nuclear war on that one. And 30 years with Rwanda and the Congo. Think about that. You hear a lot about Rwanda and the genocide in Rwanda. And, you know, this has been going on for over 30 years, and he created peace. Thailand and Cambodia, peace deal. Armenia and Azerbaijan, the 35-year war, stopped that one, and that created peace. And, of course, with the Israel-Hamas Gaza, that one as well. So this is this is what he's been doing for a long time, obviously, right? Like he's been creating peace, but yet no Nobel Peace Prize, which is kind of strange, right? Whereas Barack Obama, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples, whatever the hell that means, particularly his vision of work for a world without nuclear weapons. So he's just talking about not having nuclear weapons, and he gets a Nobel Peace Prize. So, hey, you can take it or leave it. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I've lost a lot of faith in the Nobel Peace Prize people, put it that way, right? Because Barack Obama, of course, going off on Trump, saying he's this and that and the other thing. And this is what somebody had to say about Barack Obama, because Barack Obama made a tweet the other day and in regards to peace, but he never thanked Trump. So listen to what this reporter said.
President Obama put out this post talking about the peace deal and the prospects of it, and Don Jr. responded to it. I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama's going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
Exactly. You think if he's going to tweet something, just acknowledge Trump for doing what he did, which was a good thing. But unfortunately, people don't do that, right? They just don't. And here is the Pakistani prime minister. I'm going to start where he starts to talk, actually. He starts to speak about Donald Trump. I think Donald asked him to come up and say a few words, I believe. So I'm just going to fast forward. Here we go. So this is the Prime Minister of Pakistan. This is what he had to say.
And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize, because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for Peace Prize, because he has brought not only peace in South Asia, saved millions of people, their lives. And today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, achieving peace in Gaza is saving millions of lives in the Middle East. Mr. President, I would like to salute you for your exemplary leadership, visionary leadership. And I think that you are the man this world needed most at this point in time. World would always remember you as a man who did everything, went out of the way to stop 7 and today 8 wars.
8.
I would like to thank
8.
my very dear brother,
8 wars.
Sheikh Tamim. He's Akh al-Shaqiq, who has really worked very hard along with others to achieve peace in this region. My very dear brother, President Tayyip Erdogan, His Majesty, King Abdullah, and of course, my very dear brother, Mohammed bin Zayed of UAE, and of course, my very dear brother, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And he has also been very, very helpful and contributed very valuably in this wonderful peace process. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't want to take more of your time. Suffice it to say, had it not been for this gentleman, not only, who knows, India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers. Had he not intervened along with his wonderful team, during those 4 days, the war could have escalated to a level. Who would have lived to tell what happened? And similarly, here in this part of the world, in the Middle East, Mr. President, your valuable contribution along with President Sisi, I think history will remember in golden words. I wouldn't say more, except God bless you, God give you long life to serve like this for all time to come. Thank you very much.
Isn't that something, right? So the Prime Minister of Pakistan not only says that, he did a great job, obviously, and he should be nominated with the Nobel Peace Prize for all the peace that he's created, but everyone else in the world, not everyone, but people that don't like him, they don't see it that way. It's what it is, right? Kind of bizarre. If anyone deserves it, he does, right? But here we are in Canada, and this is just literally the other day. And how long is this stuff going to go on for? This is in Montreal, Canada. So we could probably put a kibosh to all that stuff anytime now, right? Because peace in the Middle East. So they can stop that nonsense here in Canada, I believe. So everyone thinks, peace. Trump's created peace. But what is the effect? What's the outcome? Well, there's actually real people's lives. And these are some of the hostages meeting their families. I was going to play some of these for you. It's quite touching.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
How touching is all this? People hooking up with their families again.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
I will post that video in its entirety that I have. It's 3-4 minutes long on my Twitter feed. My Twitter is in the top right-hand side of the screen there, so you can find me on Twitter. Okay, so let's move on now from that. And what's going on here in Canada? What's happening in Canada right now is this silly Bill C-8. Bill C-8, here it is. Bill C-8 allows the government without trial or warrant to issue an order banning internet providers from providing any service to any specified person, prohibiting the disclosure of the order's existence, and forcing you to give them personal information that they think is relevant. So is this Canada we're living in? Like, what's going on here? So let's listen to what they had to say in the House in regards to Bill C-8 and talking about a little bit about Bill C-8 here, right in our own House. Gives you an idea.
We must take the bill at face value. We must rely on what the text explicitly sets out in the law. Otherwise, the law intended to protect telecommunications infrastructure could easily be weaponized by any government against ordinary citizens. Citizens most at risk are people like me, those who publicly and loudly express dissent, challenge orthodoxy, or raise uncomfortable truths. These citizens most active in civil society are most at risk of being cut off, penalized, and isolated without ever knowing why. For these reasons, Bill C-8 undermines the principles of fundamental justice in the Charter as it stands. Security in this context can be a pretext for control, while transparency and liberty are sacrificed.
See that? That was Leslyn Lewis O'Crate talking about that. Now, if you don't think this is going to happen in Canada, you're sadly mistaken. You really are. You're seriously not paying attention. Now, I've popped up videos before on Tommy Robinson. You've seen them. Tommy Robinson's from England. Now, Tommy Robinson, they're putting him through the court systems again. He just got out of jail. He just got out of jail. For what? What Leslie Lewis was just talking about. Dissent. Going against the government. Saying stuff that should be said, but they're not allowing him to say it because They just charged him under the terrorist act that they have over there, which is like this, going to be like this Bill C-8 or the Bill C-11 that they're trying to pop out, Bill C-9, sorry, the hate speech bill, just because he wouldn't let them get into his phone, wouldn't give him the code to his phone. That's under the terrorist act bill. So listen to what Tommy Robinson has to say here.
What has transpired upstairs? I would make sure we got...
You on?
Yeah, we're on.
Verdict is the 4th of November, so back to court, which again is more fees because they just said now we're going to have another bill for another day in court. It's just insane, isn't it? Another bill for another day in court. We heard all the evidence. There was no evidence, yeah? So they arrested me under terrorism legislation, which is where they're meant to find out if I'm a terrorist. All they asked me about was my political beliefs. All they asked me about. So they didn't ask me about anything to do with violence, terrorism. In the end, they threw in something about far-right extremism. They didn't ask me anything about that. They just asked me about my legal, lawful, legitimate political beliefs, which is what this was about. This was about detaining me because I'm Tommy Robinson and because I'm outspoken on subjects such as Islam. You heard it from the final officer, Islamophobia. See? So what even is Islamophobia? What, you can't have an opinion of Islam without getting detained under the Terrorism Act now in Great Britain? But that's it. So I'm 4th of November, which is a good thing because it means I get to go on a state visit to Israel tomorrow to form friendships and...
So that's what he's just talking about. He's very outspoken, and he says things that, about immigration, or he says things about the government that he doesn't like. And guess what? The government doesn't like that. So that's what they do. So here's a little clip of Joe Rogan and what he has to say in regards to the same kind of thing, right? Because these are basically freedoms being taken away. But Canadians will sit by and they'll go, oh, well, it's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen in Canada. You wake up, man. You wake up.
Yeah, these motherfuckers are pushing digital ID on these people. And once they do digital ID, they're going to attach it to a social credit score. Yep. They're going to attach it to a carbon footprint score. And then they'll be able to control your movement and control you entirely. And most importantly, they've already arrested 12,000 people.
12,000.
That's insane.
Above and beyond every other country. Way above Russia. Russia was like 400 last year. The UK is 12,000. Any criticism of immigration, any criticism of grooming gangs and people being raped, any talk about how horrible this is, they come visit you.
And that's exactly what Tommy Robinson was doing. He was talking about what was going on with the immigration, the explosion of immigration, and the rape gangs that are going on in the UK right now, which are insane. That's what he's talking about. And for that, the government's had him up on numerous court hearings and put him in jail.
Like someone's trying to destroy England. It's literally like they've got a concerted effort to destroy England, and they're getting away with it.
Yeah, and what happens over there?
It's really crazy. It's really crazy to watch because the mass immigration's not an accident. If I was going to destroy a country, I would do it exactly the way they're doing it. I'd take away their freedom, take away their ability to protest, take away their guns, which they did in the 90s, and then you start tightening that noose. Tighter and tighter.
What have they done to Canada? What have they done here in Canada? Let's see what Joe says there again.
Their guns, which they did in the 90s, and then you start tightening that noose. England, and they're getting away with it.
Yeah.
Listen to what he says about slowly what happens with countries, what they do.
What happens over there?
It's really crazy. It's really crazy to watch because the mass immigration's not an accident. If I was going to destroy a country, I would do it exactly the way they're doing it. I'd take away their freedom, take away their ability to protest,
ability to protest,
guns, which they did
guns.
in the 90s, and then you start tightening that noose.
Tightening the noose.
Tighter and tighter.
Tight.
More restrictions, more this, more that.
I mean, we're getting closer.
And just the arresting people. When you arrest 12,000 people for social media posts, you don't just arrest people for social media posts. You change people's ability to post about things because of fear. So they self-censor. So you don't even you're hitting them with like this one guy who complained about. There's a famous video where this fucking idiot in a wig. He's one of them judges they wear the wigs, the white powdered wigs, and he's sentencing this guy for 20 months for social media posts that are normal, like normal complaints about mass immigration of illegals from other countries that aren't assimilating and that they believe are ruining their society, which there's a real argument for. And that's what online discourse is supposed to be about, like having conversations. Like I'm voicing my concern for the way society is running right now because of what's happening.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly why I do what I do. And that's exactly why other podcasters do what they do, for the same reason, to let people know what's going on in the world, maybe that they don't understand or haven't seen, and to share some of this information, because this is what transpires. This is what's been going on here in Canada. And if you don't think that this is coming to Canada, look what's happened in Britain. Look what's happened in Australia. It's like dominoes. It just keeps occurring. And now it's going to occur here in Canada, because this Liberal government is slowly chipping away at the citizens' rights. But fear has everyone blocked to the point where they voted in a Liberal government that has literally decimated this country economically. Economically, we have been wrecked, and the wrecking is still happening. Why? Because of the Liberal government. You got to look no further than that. Anyway, that's the end of today's podcast. I hope I've shared some stuff maybe you haven't seen before. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Helps with the algorithm on YouTube. Much appreciated. I've always liked to end my podcast with saying this one thing in regards to people and what they're going through. Everyone's going through something in their life. Everyone goes through something in their life. And life's not easy. It's tough. You got to be tougher. And you got to do one thing. That's right. You got to keep moving forward. Nothing for you back there. Everything's ahead. Think of what you want to do and keep moving forward. All right? All right, everyone. Until next time, that's today's podcast. Until next podcast. Cheers.